Operating system and graphical user interface, role and functions. Computer is a group of electronic devices that can accept data, conduct a series of arithmetic and logical operations on it, and give result of these operations as information that is useful to people. In other words, computer is an electronic device capable of performing commands, and these commands are basically input, output, storage, arithmetic, and logical operations. A computer system consists of two major components, namely hardware and software. All physical components that form computer system are known as computer hardware. It includes all components that we can see and touch, that is processor, input devices like keyboard, mouse, output devices like visual display unit, VDU, printer, speaker, storage devices, and so on. Software is basically collection of different programs that tells computer's hardware what to do. This program or collection of such programs is known as computer software. Types of software. The most common types of software are the following. Application software. Application software is a computer software package that performs a specific function for a user. Examples of modern applications include office suites, graphics software, databases, and database management programs, web browsers, word processors, software development tools, and image editors. System software. These software programs are designed to run a computer's application programs and hardware. System software controls the operations of the computer hardware and provides an environment for all the other types of software to work. The OS is the best example of system software. It manages all the other computer programs. Other examples of system software include the firmware, computer language translators, and system utilities. Introduction to operating system. A computer consists of one or more processors, main memory disks, printers, and various input-output devices. A computer is a device that cannot work on its own. It requires a set of commands from the user to perform a specific task. These commands have to be converted into a language which is understood by the computer. The most important program that runs on a computer is the operating system. It acts as an interface between the computer and the user. The operating system is responsible for the management and organization of activities and distribution of the resources of the computer. Let us learn about the operating system in detail. Definition of operating system. An operating system, or OS, is a program or a set of programs that controls computer hardware and software resources. A computer consists of both hardware and software components. Hardware components. The physical machine and its electrical components form the hardware. For example, the keyboard, mouse, printer, disk drive, monitor, and central processing unit (CPU). Software components. The programs that are written for computer systems form the software. For example, system software (OS) and application programs. An operating system is a system software which consists of a group of software that provides instructions to operate a computer. It creates an environment for the users to execute the programs. It also provides security to the users to ensure that the illegal users are prohibited from accessing the system. Hence, the operating system combines hardware, application, and data in the computer. This helps the user to use the operating system easily and efficiently. The operating system is responsible for the functioning of hardware. In addition, it must provide a programming interface for application software developers. The command processor or command line interpreter forms a part of the OS where the commands are accepted and executed. For example, when a user enters a command in a computer application, it acts as an input to the OS. The command is processed by the OS and instructions are sent to the hardware. On receiving the instructions, the hardware with the help of associated software provides the required results to the OS. The output displayed to the user has been converted into user-friendly language by the OS. Need for an operating system. The main objectives of using an operating system are as follows: to make a computer system easy to use, to control or execute the user or application programs, to use the computer hardware efficiently, to easily solve the user problems. Operating system provides a base on which other application programs can run. These programs allow the users to easily perform a specific task. Computer resources such as memory, monitor, keyboard and printer are controlled by the OS. In other words, the OS allocates various input-output resources to the users or programs as per their requirement. It allows multiple programs to execute and communicate with each other. Features and functions of an operating system. Let us now learn about the various features and function of an operating system. Features of an operating system. The main features of an operating system are as follows. Multitasking. It refers to a process where two or more programs are controlled at the same time by a single user. In general, a CPU can perform only one task at a time. However, the programs are executed so fast that two or more tasks seem to be executed at the same time. Multi-programming. It refers to two or more programs stored in the main memory at the same time. In this feature, the CPU switches to execute another task when the first task is on hold and vice versa. Parallel processing. It refers to the use of two or more CPUs to handle tasks. It is used widely for computer networking. Buffering. It refers to a temporary storage area from where the input device reads the data or sends the data to the output device. Functions of an operating system. Based on the features, the main functions of an operating system are as follows. Booting. The process in which the computer is turned on and the operating system starts is called booting. The OS checks all the hardware and software installed in the computer and loads all the files required to run a computer. Processor management. The OS ensures that each process or application receives enough time from the processor to function properly. It also tries to utilize as many processor cycles as possible for the real-time work. Managing memory. The main function of the operating system is memory management. It ensures that one process should not consume the memory allocated to another process. The OS defines the amount of memory needed by each program and sets aside enough memory for these processes to function smoothly. Loading and execution. The application programs can be executed only after loading it in the memory. The facility to load programs in memory and run them is provided by the operating system. Managing data security. Data stored on a computer may contain sensitive information which needs to be protected from unauthorized access. The main function of the OS is to protect the data stored on the computer from illegal use, alteration, or deletion. Managing disk. The data is stored on a computer hard disk in the form of files and folders. This data is stored in the form of a certain structure on hard disk. The operating system processes the disk space to store files and folders. It also provides a system backup for all the files and folders so that these can be recovered in case the computer system crashes. Managing devices. A computer is connected using the peripheral devices such as printer, mouse, keyboard, speakers and monitor. OS acts as a controller between these attached devices and the CPU. It accepts commands from the user, processes it, and conveys it to a peripheral device to provide the desired output to the user. Managing print function. The print function is also controlled by the operating system. When a user executes two print commands at a time, the OS prints them separately. Managing interface. The different interfaces such as graphical user interface and character user interface allows you to control how the information that the user has sent as input can be displayed on the screen. Types of operating systems. Some of the widely used operating systems are as follows. Operating system description. Single user. As the name suggests, a single user operating system provides a platform for only one user at a time. Commonly used operating systems are desktop operating systems which run on a standalone system where no user accounts are required. Examples: DOS, Windows 3X and Windows 95, 97, 98. Multiprocessor. This operating system consists of two or more central processing units, CPUs, sharing full access to a common RAM. These types of systems are used when very high speed is required to process a large volume of data. Examples: Windows NT, Solaris and Digital Unix. Multi-user. In multi-user operating system, two or more simultaneous users are supported by the computer system. Examples: Unix OS such as Solaris and Linux, Windows 2000, Windows XP, Windows 7 and Windows Vista. Batch processing. Batch processing refers to entering of a task into the system along with input data in a batch. The execution of tasks takes place one after another, and no task can be started until the previous task is completed. Examples: payroll system, bank statements, and IBM's MVS OS. Real-time processing. Real-time processing is a type of operating system that processes data or events within a short period of time. It requires an immediate response. It may be single tasking or multitasking. When switching between the tasks, the RTO has to choose the most appropriate task to load next. Examples: airplane landing control system, anti-missile defense system, medical imaging systems, industrial control systems, robots, and many more. Time-sharing processing. In time-sharing processing, each user is allotted a time slot to interact within the CPU. Each user has to follow a sequence and the duration of time slot depending on the system. Examples: Multics, Unix, TOPS 10 and TOPS 20. Distributed. Distributed operating system refers to a shared network in which several interconnected computers can communicate with each other. The operating system runs on a set of computers that are located in different geographical regions interconnected by a network. It allows all the linked machines to access data and software from the network. Examples: Locus and Micros. User interface and its types. A user interface is a system with both software and hardware components. It allows a user to interact with a computer by giving commands and receiving messages using the different elements of the user interface. Some of the main elements of the user interface are the look and feel of your computer or mobile, the design, the layout, the images, the interactivity, the icons, the buttons, the keypad, and the touch screen. The operating system of a computer is also an interface through which a user gives commands or instructions to the computer. Types of user interfaces. The commonly used interfaces are Character User Interface (CUI) and Graphical User Interface (GUI). Let us now learn about each type in detail. Character User Interface or CUI. A character user interface allows the user to enter commands by typing to perform a specific task. A user can interact with a computer operating system or software using a CUI. Since this method requires a user to type instructions to a computer, it is also known as entering command method. The commands can be typed using a keyboard. Examples of CUI: MS-DOS and Unix. This user interface is not recommended for the beginners since there are numerous commands to be remembered in order to use CUI. In the earlier versions, MS-DOS and Unix provided the user with command line prompt to enter the commands in the form of sequential lines of text. These lines of text are also called command lines. The scripting of the computer programs was done mainly using the CUI. A few examples of commands for command line interface are as follows. Graphical User Interface (GUI). The first GUI was developed by researchers at Xerox Palo Alto Research Center or PARC in the 1970s. A graphical user interface or GUI allows the user to interact with computer with images rather than text commands. Several peripheral devices such as the mouse, keyboard, keypad, and so on are used to input data into the computer or mobile devices. Graphical user interface is basically menu-driven, graphics-based, user-friendly, and extremely interactive in nature. A user can communicate using the icons, menus, options, dialog boxes, and text boxes to run the desired application. Other unique graphical user interfaces have been developed for different operating systems such as OS/2, Windows, Macintosh, Linux, Symbian OS, and so on. Advantages and disadvantages of graphical user interface. A typical GUI offers the following advantages and disadvantages over CUI or any text-based user interface. Advantages of GUI over CUI. It provides an ease of access, especially to the beginners. It provides users with fast, visual feedback about the effect of each action. It is capable of displaying multiple programs or instances simultaneously. It allows the use of computer without learning any programming languages. It offers a visually appealing interface to the users. It supports peripheral devices for control and navigation. Disadvantages of GUI over CUI. GUI is costlier than CUI since it requires a lot of device space and memory. GUI takes more time to complete a task as compared to CUI. GUI-based operating systems are more expensive as users have to pay the license fee. Flat screen displays used in GUI are not compatible to display certain applications. For example, in an airplane, sticks are used to control the flat screen as the display is not very handy. GUI system works slow as compared to CUI as it uses a lot of memory resources. Additional software and time are required for testing and implementation of GUI. Difference between CUI and GUI. The following table displays the various differences between CUI and GUI. Feature: Character User Interface (CUI), Graphical User Interface (GUI). Usage: A user can enter commands in the form of successive lines of text or command lines to perform tasks. A user can use the graphical icons and visual indicators to interact with electronic devices attached to a computer system. Ease: It is not easy for beginners since they have to learn the commands. It is easy for beginners. Memory: It requires less memory compared to GUI. It requires more memory as it contains a lot of graphical components. Speed: Its speed is faster as compared to GUI. Its speed is slower as compared to CUI. Appearance: It is not possible to change the appearance of your computer screen. It is possible to change the appearance of your computer screen. Flexibility: It is not much flexible. It is more flexible as compared to CUI.